Hello, hello. Let's see. Sent Panzerdog the co-host invite. We should be able to get started soon. Also, let me see if I can join from my main account. No spaces on PC, it seems like. Or actually, perfect. Okay.
Hey, it's working, I think.
There we go.
Perfect.
Hey.
I'm gonna add our team members as speakers here. We have Henry, our lead game designer. We have Hernan, our tech CTO. And then we have Aryan, our blockchain developer here as well. Man, we're super excited to talk about Panzerdogs.
Me too. I'm so excited to see what you guys have building. Hello.
Yeah.
All right, let me know when your entire team is on board for speaking, and yeah, we can get started.
Yeah, we're all on board for speaking.
All right, great. Well, then let's start the spaces. So, hey guys, my name is Yoon. I'm the biz dev manager from Magic Eden. My main focus is gaming partnerships. Today we're going to talk about Panzerdog, their alpha build, and what else they have building. And also with that, we're going to talk about Eden Games and what we have coming up. So yeah, that's me. Let's go one by one and get to know the Panzerdog team.
I'll go first. Hey everyone, my name is Hergy. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Lucky Cats and currently leading the Panzerdogs project inside Lucky Cats. Really great to be here and yeah, looking forward to talk about Panzerdogs.
Hi, I'm Henry. I'm a game designer and game developer in Panzerdogs. Really excited to talk about what we have cooking in the Panzerdogs kitchen.
Hey, I'm Hernan. I'm the CTO and founder of Lucky Cat. I oversee the tech and game development for Panzerdogs.
Hi, I'm Arjan, and I used to be game developer, but I switched to blockchain development for Panzerdogs, and yeah, I'm responsible for smart contract development and also Web3 integration for the game.
Sweet. So yeah, what is the update with Panzerdog? So I'm sure as everyone has heard, the alpha build is out, and we're very curious, what does that mean? What's playable, and what's playable for non-holders, what's playable for holders, and what is an alpha build for people that, I guess, aren't as tech-versed?
Yeah, so we released the alpha build on Wednesday, which again is super exciting for us. We are beyond excited, but also beyond scared at the same time. But we've decided to release it as soon as possible to collect data and see how everyone is liking the game or not liking the game. And we want to collect feedback as soon as possible. So what's in the alpha build is that you're able to play online PvP against each other. 3 versus 3 deathmatch is there. You are able to play with your favorite dog. So basically you have to have a dog avatar to play the game, but you do not need to own a tank in order to play the game. And then we have leaderboard prizes up to 66 Solanas, and also tank rewards as well for the top 20 players. And then it's a very plain and very simple version to start with. But again, we wanted to release as soon as possible and ship as soon as possible to collect data and see how people are liking the game, how people are behaving in the game, so that we can start improving the experience. And we're seeing people having a lot of fun currently, but at the same time we're also collecting a lot of feedback from the community, which is great.
Awesome. So I want to kind of ask about what it's like developing in Web3 versus Web2. So I have very minimal game development experience, just about a year as a combat designer for a game called Godfall. But from my time in game development, I learned it takes years and years of development for a game to be shipped. And more often than not, the game you're working on can either get changed dramatically, a certain studio might buy you out, and most tragically, your game can get shut down. And it's actually very common, and it happens in big studios too. So for a team that's working in Web3, that has to be more nimble, and where the cycle of attention is much shorter, I'm curious what it was like for you guys to get to this point with the alpha build and some of the struggles and some of the biggest differences in terms of developing in a traditional Web2 world versus developing for a Web3 audience.
Well, that's a very interesting question. I think probably the rest of the team members can fill me up as well, and they have their own perspective. When it comes to this question around like what's the difference between developing Web2 and Web3. But I guess as a studio in general, what we really had to get used to is that, as you just mentioned, people have, as you mentioned, much more shorter attention span. But I think in general, we are much more transparent than before, whereas we are sharing much more about the game development, and people seem to appreciate it also a lot more, which is, I think, gives us a lot of positive energy as well. So at the same time, that means there's more pressure for the team. But I think we as a studio, we exist now for like 6 years, and developed and published over 20 games, and not even counting all the prototypes that we have made as a studio, which is, I think, even beyond 100 prototypes that we've made over the last 6 years, and especially the last 2 years since we were working on hyper casual. You had to test a lot of like game concepts and see if that worked in the market, and you had to ship really fast, right, and get us feedback both on the marketing side and on the game development side feedback as soon as possible. So so there's like a ton of experience that we already have, and I think that really helped with the transition from Web2 to Web3. I mean, obviously we were uncertain, like, should we really do this? Like, we already been talking about it as a team. Should we develop something Web3? And I think we've even played with some other ideas in the beginning as well. I think we wanted to build sort of like a Mario Land kind of game, and then I think there were some other ideas, and I think at some point we were like, okay, let's just do it. Let's just not think too much. We had this really great game called Panzerdogs, and we wanted to ship out something out very fast, and that game was a tremendous success. It was online PvP as well. So, and we saw people like pixel art as well, in the Solana space, looking at the Solana Monkey Business project, obviously. So it made a lot of sense for us just to ship as soon as possible, and then we were able to build a demo in 6 weeks, and it would be great to get a perspective from the game team as well, like how that was for us. But we were able to build out in 6 weeks and then do the public mint, which got sold out very quickly, right? And then I think it really started for us, like, okay, this space is so much different than like Web2. It's, on Web2 you get basically reviews on apps, right? And then you're looking at the reviews and that's it. But here it's like, people are on Discord, people are on Twitter, and especially on Discord, it's really great to have this community that are really involved in the development, and that's also what we want to do with the alpha build, right? Because we shipped it, so now it's like March, and we started in beginning November. So it's like in less than 5 months we were able to ship an alpha build, and and that's great to get the community as involved as possible. and yeah, collect this feedback and really, be in touch with the community. And I think that's the best way to make a great game. You grow together with the community, and I think that's the biggest difference between Web 2 and Web 3. Yeah, curious to hear about the rest of the team, what they think about building in Web 2 vs Web 3.
Yeah, I think the attention stuff you mentioned is quite important. Like we built our game with short sessions in mind because we understand there's a lot of conflicting attention, and we kind of wanted to mesh inside of that. So our sessions at the moment are very short, about 3 minutes at a time, which is really nice. And you can imagine in a future world where you have mobile access, you could sit down in a bus or sit down in the toilet and play a couple games. Like yeah, I think attention is a commodity inside of Web3 at the moment, for sure.
Yeah, and something that we've applied is that, with our experience in game development, we've always been a very very lean and very iterative, and that's how we're able to ship very fast. And with Web3, I guess it's even more. It's almost development on crack, I would say. We're moving so fast, but that's also, with our experience that we have, that we've built up over the years. Because yeah, like Hergy already said, like we've shipped over 20 games, and we've always worked very fast, and we just make quick decisions, make sure the game is just fun, and release as fast as possible, and just work in iterative cycles. That really helps here as well for Panzerdogs. We're able to ship the game, at least our alpha build, very fast, and and so far the responses have been great.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So and I think another thing is that we had to write a white paper. That's obviously not something that we've done before. At the same time, you have to think about the game design that connects with the Genesis collection that you release. What are the benefits? And obviously you're working with real monetary value attached to the in-game assets, right? And that's also a big difference. So I think in a sense, and I hope other game developers have that as well. Like we really feel like very responsible for people who put money into our game, right? Or in the avatars or even the tanks. Like for us, it's just really important that people who invest in this game, we want to make sure that it's worthwhile first, right? Like the experience needs to be really good. So we've always have in the back of our minds that game comes first, and that comes back into the white paper, and yeah, that the experience is good, and like and that white paper, like the things that are in the white paper and game design wise, it's just I think that's much different, that we had to think about these stuff beforehand, and that there's a lot of like monetary value involved as well in making a game and making sure that people, yeah, who invest, yeah, they at least it's worthwhile for them.
Yeah, I was going to mention about the time scales, right? Because when we usually work on game design documents, there we project them out for maybe a couple months, and they evolve quite organically. We had to look a lot further for our game design documents and our white paper, obviously. So we have more future planning involved, because of this monetary value that's included. Like you have to think on grander scales as opposed to the next couple months. You have to think in terms of like potentially even years.
So, how do you guys deal with the monetary part? Because that's a part that you guys mentioned that I think is really interesting. People are investing money into the game. And as you guys have a PvP game, I'd imagine there's going to be balancing, there's going to be changing of what's OP, what's not OP. And yeah, you want to put the gameplay first because first and foremost, that experience has to be good. And if that experience isn't good, you aren't going to have returning players. But when people have monetary value attached to certain items in game, then it becomes really tricky, right? So I'm really curious, as a game developer that is focused on developing the best experience possible, how you guys deal with the NFT aspect and people being not just emotionally involved, but financially invested into your game.
Yeah, I feel like transparency solves a lot of this. As long as we're working inside of our community and talking with them and getting their feedback, and we're very vocal about what we're thinking about in terms of balance, I feel like it solves itself almost in that regard. Where we're sort of working with the community to understand what they feel like is the best solution as well as ours. Um, Especially when it comes to parts, because we're already seeing right away at the beginning of this alpha test that we need to do some balancing and tweaking of the currently existing parts that will end up coming in the next couple of weeks. And we'll be talking with the community about specifically which parts are going to be changing. Most of it's buffs, actually, which is just quite surprising. We underpowered some certain parts. But yeah, I think transparency goes a long way in that regard. If we did it if we were opaque, right, and we just dropped these things out of nowhere, you can imagine that would degrade trust within our audience, and so it makes a lot of sense that we involve them in the decision-making process in that regard.
I can't imagine how stressful and how complicated it must be. So coming from League of Legends, people get death threats from just nerfing their favorite champion, and it has nothing to do with people having money involved. And people can say things like, "Oh, I bought this legendary skin, so of course you guys nerf it right after you release this legendary skin." But at the end of the day, it's you're buying skin for the aesthetic, and maybe people are doing the same way. People are spending the money same way in Panzerdogs, but the money spent is on a way different scale. So yeah, it's not an easy responsibility, I can imagine.
Yeah, and I think we are very aware that we are very aware that this is important to the community, right? So um, yeah, so I guess we're, let's say, confident that we are able to provide solutions with the community, and we've always done that as well. Like as we just mentioned, we thought releasing Panzerdogs was a pretty quick decision, but we knew like along the way we were gonna get a lot of, let's say, challenges. And we've been always in the past, we've always we're able to solve these solutions, right? So I think it's also a bit of a confidence that we have that we know we're not going to do it 100% right, but at least we're going to make a decision, right? And that decision will be together with the community, and we know that we're going to solve it. And I don't want to sound arrogant or anything, but I think it's more like confidence that we are able to, make a really great game out of it, together with having in mind the monetary value and investment that people make. And I think at the same time, it's also a new challenge for us as a company as well. And we really like to, accept these sort of like new challenges in the gaming world, together with Web3. And I think also, like, we as a company, and especially with all the, smart people that we have in the company, in order to, maximize the talent, you have to give them, a really great challenge. And I think currently, like, Web3 is like a super big challenge, right? So, and therefore we're just very, hyped up and have a lot of positive energy in order to, make this game a success.
Yeah, I also think that here's also what the power is in Web3 is that people own the game as well. Like they own the NFTs, but if we have a DAO, we can also leverage the DAO to balance the game as well, because it's in everyone's best interest to have a balanced game, and I think a DAO can be a powerful tool for that as well.
True that. So we talked about a lot of the difficulties that comes with developing and a lot of the challenges that you guys have to overcome. But you guys are in a place where I I quote you guys as a success case for games a lot of times. And whenever we talk to different projects, I point at Panzerdogs and I'm like, hey, look at these guys. These guys are traditional Web 2 devs that have really embraced the Web 3 space and that actually know what they're doing, that have previous game development experience, and that have built a successful product. So I want to ask you guys, what was that moment where you guys felt like, oh my God, we're actually doing it. Oh my God, like we sold out, like we finally felt successful. I'm sure you guys probably already had that from the success you had previously before Panzerdogs, but I'm curious, what was that moment for Panzerdogs where it finally clicked and you guys are like, holy shit, we're actually going to make it?
I think that's for everyone different. So I'm also really curious what the team thinks here. But I think the moment when we sold out, we were, very euphoric. We were all screaming, behind, obviously in front of the camera, as we were all in this virtual meeting. But like, yeah, I think that's also when the moment was like, oh wow, now it's really gonna start, right? Now we really have to start developing the game and integrating all the stuff that we've talked about in the light paper. And uh, but I do think that is sort of like this moment where you get sort of like a validation moment of like, okay, people are interested in this project, right? And this project just got a green light basically, to succeed further, and we can really start developing. I think that was sort of like that moment. And after that, I think the weekly AMAs are also very great, where people, we can talk about it together with the community about like what we're doing, and answering all the questions. But yeah, I think the moment of selling out was, I mean, at least for me personally, was a was a moment where I thought, okay, this project is probably bigger than we think.
Yeah, I feel like 15 seconds into the minting is where it sort of kicked in with me because it was plummeting by like thousands and thousands every 10 seconds. And so that was pretty cool. But I also think yeah, the AMAs I think are really good. Like people aren't just asking in terms of investment, they're also extremely curious and invested in the game emotionally as well. Um, so yeah, it's really nice, and it feels great to have like an active community for one of these games. Yeah, it's fantastic. There's so much excitement from people, and it's contagious.
Yeah, it was definitely the mint was very intense. And yeah, before that we also really pushed for the demo to be released, because we really wanted to have the NFT importing functional, because that's something we felt was very important as well. Being able to actually play with the NFT, and not just have it have a demo, and that's just actually a Web 2 game. We really wanted to integrate the Web 3 features.
For me personally, it was when we first deployed the smart contracts on the mainnet, because that's when you actually start spending actual Solana to get smart contracts online and to get all the data into the minting machine. And that was pretty scary because you don't want to mess up and then you have to spend that money again. But yeah, that felt for me at least like, oh, we're really gonna do this.
Yeah, going back to what was said about the demo, um, I think it was really important for us to get that out because it proved to people that we were really serious about this. Um, I think a lot of projects pitch demos but don't deliver demos, and I feel like delivering is like showing is a lot stronger than telling. And that might have been a strong driver for why we got so much attention, is that we showed our commitment to the space.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were one of the first teams that I encountered that had the Web 2 experience, but also were able to come up with a demo right away and have a proof of product. And I think that's so important in this space because, I mean, I come from a traditional gaming world, but also a traditional startup world. And I've been part of multiple raises, Series A, Series B, and yeah, it's not easy raising anywhere near $1 million, but we see so many projects easily raise that, and I'm slightly concerned when I see projects raise so much money without having a single demo or proof of product available. So seeing you guys show off your demo, seeing you guys show off your Web2 experience first was really great for me, and it made me feel like, hey, Panzerdogs, this is a project that I can trust. And I also would love to get your thoughts in the general Web3 space versus Web2, what you guys found the most different, and how you guys feel the Solana space is developing for games.
I feel like personally the motivations become different in terms of like what we want players to do. With usual Web2 experiences, it's about a lot of the time, say on mobile, it's about getting them to enjoy the game for long enough that we can create some ad revenue. But Web3, it's purely about enjoyment actually, and like enjoyment in engaging in the economy. Like you can imagine how that changes our motivations in game. Like we don't just want people to stick around. We want people to be actually like strongly invested within the product we're making. That has implications in terms of the design and stuff as well. But it's positive in the sense like compared to like the mobile platform where we're just trying to keep you around. It becomes more literally just about having fun, purely. And I think that's a fantastic thing that's offered actually by Web3.
Yeah, just to add a little bit on what Henry just said, I think that's he's completely right on that. I think we are all on the same level when it comes to that. Like when you look at Web2, right? It's actually sort of like one dimensional. You make an app, and what you want the users to do is basically have them watch ads, which is sort of like obviously the free way of getting stuff in a game, right? So that's, whether it's like in-game characters or more coins to spend on whatever inside a game, but it's constantly like trying to convince them to either watch an ad, and then even on a larger time frame, it's opening up their wallet and try to spend them, let them spend on in-app purchases. And we think it's pretty one-dimensional there. And I think with Web3, you can have like sort of like a two-dimensional approach where you can actually start sharing the revenue with the community, and I think that just makes it so much more interesting. And in general, like with the Solana space, like I think and I think we all believe that, and I'm really curious about Aryan as well, as he, I think he switched all his BNB to Solana personally. So, but like
Yeah.
in general, it's I think we're still at an early stage where a lot of people actually are now like, and I'm seeing that in my own network as well, where a lot of game founders are pivoting to Web3. I think we were a bit before that, craze actually, or like this whole pivot from Web2 to Web3 game studios. But I think we're still early, and I expect a lot of new gaming projects coming to Solana, which will probably have a really big impact on the overall status of Web3 gaming. So we really look forward to it, and I think this really feels like the beginning of Web2 as well. Like we were not there. I mean, I think in 2012 or 2011 somewhere, I think the App Store came out. And I've heard some stories as well, especially because Ko Kim is our advisor. She was there at the early beginnings over at Google Play as one of the business managers. And at the early beginnings of Web2 or mobile app, when the App Store just came out, everyone was really collaborative. Everyone was very hungry to, basically try to invent new experiences, right? I mean, free to play in 2012 was really new. I think now play to earn is also like, something very new, and with new stuff, some people hate it. But I think, if we as a game developer and other game developers keep building, I think at some point people will start accepting it. And we have to, as we just mentioned, actions are louder than words. So we really have to create great experiences in order to convince the mass audience that play to earn is here to stay. And I think we're just getting started here.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. It's like I feel that so I don't feel that single player games won't necessarily be changed by Web3, but I think multiplayer games will just be enhanced by Web3 features, and that's really great about it. Like if you play League of Legends and you buy a skin, you spend that money and you will never see that money back again, basically. And with Web3, you can hold that skin and sell it again if you don't want to play League of Legends anymore. And I think that's just a plus. And if you don't care about that, you can still buy the NFT and just forget about it, have it in your wallet. So in that sense, I just see it as an overall enhancement, and doesn't mean that everyone has to own NFTs, but it's just better. And yeah, I did switch over to Solana because like I moved all my crypto assets over to Solana, or not all of it, but most, because I feel that just if you look at the pure throughput of transactions, I think Solana is like doing really great at that. And yeah, mostly because of the proof of stake. Using proof of stake is, in my opinion, like really important. I grew to dislike Ethereum because it became really slow, and because of they still haven't moved to proof of stake. So that's why I moved to Solana completely.
Going back to what you were saying a minute ago about play to earn and like selling your assets, right? We already see parallels like this within the gaming landscape. Like if you like, it's one of our inspirations. In fact, two inspirations from Valve in CS:GO and TF2. Like they've been functioning on a business model that's essentially play to earn for quite a while. Um, and it acts as a nice like archetype for us to be able to look at and see how these things play out and what sort of things we can play around with. So it's nice to have that, and it also goes to prove that people like players do like this stuff. It's not just a case of they don't like it because they don't like it. I think it just needs to prove itself. I think they act as strong evidence of that.
Cool. So yeah, now I would love to hear what's next for Panzerdogs. I know the alpha build is out and people can play it right now. They're season 0, but what can people expect in the next month, in the next 6 months, in a year from now?
I think the biggest thing that is coming is actually the token that we're working on to get it launched. That's going to be a very big deal to us. And then once the token launches, integrating the token obviously in the game, right? We have the Panzer token and we have the scrap token, and then building out these features and like different game modes, to battle passes, to staking pools even. And then our dream is actually in the future to do a lot of collaborations as well, because obviously everyone's talking about the metaverse and interruptibility, and I think it feels like everyone's talking about it, but no one really is doing it. So our belief is that is the perfect way to do that is through in-game events, and that is something that we really look forward to as well. I'm not sure if we're going to do it this year, but probably next year. Is that we hope to work with a lot of other projects and make sure that their projects are somehow integrated in our game as well, and we can all collab somehow, and people can use other avatars and that have influence over in-game modes. That is sort of like an in-game event together with this other project. I think that would be like super interesting. and obviously, the PvP aspect and esports tournaments around that as well. That would be also very awesome. So what you can expect at least is we keep building, and there's a lot of new stuff coming up, and I think we've also listed a lot of that stuff on the roadmap on our website.
Okay, Hergy, you're gonna have to hold up for a second. You mentioned tokens, so people go crazy when they hear tokens. So yeah, you're gonna have to explain to me and rest of the audience what you mean by tokens, how it's gonna be used, how it's going to be integrated with Panzerdogs.
Yeah, sure. So we have a deflationary token, basically the premium token, as we call it, called Panzer, and then we have the inflationary token called Scrap. And the Panzer token, the usage around the Panzer token is you can use it to buy in-game items on the marketplace. There will be some items that will be displayed in the Panzer token. We will obviously have staking pools as well in order to reward our holders as well. Then you can use it for battle passes. It will be used for the leaderboard prizes as well, and obviously it also will be used as a governance token for voting in the DAO. And then we have the scrap token, which is mainly used for the play to earn section, where people can get it as a reward. Playing PvP modes and collecting XP. It's a reward for collecting XP. That's our idea, but also it will be used for crafting the lower tier tanks. Tanks are consist of different parts, and you're able to craft these parts together and get a higher tier part, and then basically construct your own tank. And I actually forgot to mention that the Panzer token is also be used for crafting on the higher for the higher tiers. And the avatars that you have, the Panzerdog avatars, will have an influence over how much you can earn in the play to earn, but also have an influence over the crafting speed, for example, when you craft tanks. So there's a lot of functionalities there. We've all listed it out in the white paper. So if anyone's interested, I would recommend to read the white paper. And yeah, it's going to be very exciting. I think once we launch a token, there's a lot of behind the scenes work. I think I've mentioned a couple times already during the AMA. And the biggest challenge is that we have a legal entity, obviously. So we have to make sure that we comply with the regulatory rules, the local regulatory rules. So yeah, there's a lot of tax advisors involved, and lawyers and whatnot. It's the boring stuff, basically. But yeah, we're getting there, and yeah, we have it planned for Q2. So yeah, very exciting.
Sweet. I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea that rarity is going to allow people to have different kind of crafting speed, and it meant more than just, hey, my avatar is an imposter cat. It's not a real dog, it's an imposter cat. I have a cute cat looking avatar, but yeah, that there's more things involved than just having a rare looking avatar.
Yeah, it was really important for us to actually leverage traits. Like rarity for the sake of rarity, I feel is not strong enough as a driver for things. Having uses, like tangible uses like this, I think are extremely valuable. And I mean that goes all the way into our tank parts as well. Like each tank also like functions different based on the parts that you're using, and some parts are rarer than others. It is very important that yeah, we give tangible uses to these traits that we attach to the NFTs.
All right, great. So before we're gonna cap the space at around noon. I would love to give you guys a final chance to speak on things that you guys might have wanted to speak on before we open up to questions.
Wow, didn't expect that, but I think we talked through a lot of our plans for Panzerdogs, And I think in general, what's important to mention is that we as a original Web 2 developer, we are super excited to build on Web 3. We are confident that we are very ambitious. That's also something that I want to say. We're very ambitious, and we have a challenge to make sure that we build a great experience for a wide audience. I don't want to say mass audience because I think that that's even more still like a lot of steps to take. But we want to build a game for as much as a wide audience as possible, so that people have a great experience playing a Web3 game, which is on Solana, because we chose Solana because it's we believe it's the fastest blockchain there is, and therefore it will enhances the experience of users. So yeah, I think that that's what we want to do, and hopefully everyone is going to get involved. Please sign up on Discord for our Discord. If you play the alpha build, give us as much feedback as possible. We love to hear your feedback, and yeah, we're super excited to to make the best game on Solana.
Yeah, we have so much in-game content in the works. It's crazy. Like we're working on new weapons, new maps, like new tank parts. Like it's so exciting. We have so much future for this project. We're still just getting started, which is crazy to think about.
I mean, for me, the thing that always stands out about Panzerdogs is just the playable demo, the alpha build that's out right now. I hear so much devs come into the space and they tell me, hey, we're going to do this. Hey, we have this experience. We'll have demo by this time. We'll have alpha, beta by this time. And a lot of times it ends up getting delayed. And a lot of times the product that comes forward is a lot lower quality than I expect. And with you guys, after the initial mint, there wasn't a lot of big promises or a lot of yelling done. There was a lot of just consistent building and consistent proof of product and actually coming out with the things that you guys said you guys would. So that's why, personally, from my end and from Magic Eden's end, we've had a very close eye on Panzerdogs, and why we built out an individual page while we're doing things like this space and doing future partnership things, because it makes sense to support projects that actually build and that can live up to the word that they tell us and rest of the community.
Thanks. We appreciate that.
All right, great. So now let's move on to questions. If you guys have questions for Magic Eden, myself, or Panzerdogs, request to speak, and you guys will get a chance to talk to us directly.
Is Finno on your team, by the way? I accepted Finno as a speaker, so.
No, it's just me on Magic Eden main account and me on my second account. So
Yeah,
speak up.
yeah. I just had a question if I could stop in right now. So I actually just found out about this on like one of my Twitter news whatever accounts that I follow, and I just saw it, and I've always been a big fan of Jordan, so I saw the 6 rings, and it instantly caught my attention, and I just had a question about obviously I have to read the white paper and the roadmap or whatever you guys provide on your account, but what's gonna be like the connection from the Web3 to like the physical utility in this project mainly?
God, are you asking regarding 6 rings or regarding Panzerdogs?
Yeah, 6 rings.
Oh, okay. So 6 Rings is a separate project that we work with. This space is about Panzerdogs and their game and what's to come for them. Yeah, feel free to check out 6 Rings on their Discord and their Twitter, but the space isn't for that. Sorry.
I was already getting worried here. I was like, what's this guy talking about? Sorry.
If you don't have any questions regarding Panzerdogs, then I'll take this time to talk about Eden Games and kind of why we built Eden Games and why I think it's important that the space has something like this. like we talked about earlier, the attention span of the space is so short, and people are moving on from one mint to another mint. And it's a very hype-driven cycle. And as we talked about, games take a long time to develop. They take a lot of work, they take a lot of iteration. And yeah, by the time that the new content has come out, a lot of times project will struggle to get the attention that they need because they're not minting, and that's not what the space is looking for. The space is looking for the next hot mint. What is the next Panzerdog? What is the next NFT to flip? And that's the problem we want to solve with Eden Games. As games come out with good content, as games come out with updates, we want to be a speakerphone for them and be a central hub where people can check out all the newest things happening in the Solana gaming space. And this is kind of the things we want to highlight. Panzerdogs Alpha Build, whatever next game has their new demo, whatever next game has a new product or content that they want to show off, we want to make sure we are able to highlight that and amplify that. Any thoughts from Panzerdogs team and their individual page that we built out for you guys? And if the struggles that I mentioned are real or if it's just in my head?
Yeah, I was about to comment on that. It's really interesting that you're bringing this up because, like, we also noticed that people are, yeah, as you mentioned, they don't have a lot of patience, in the Web3 space, and I think once we actually when we sold out the public mint, and the week after, so I think everyone was so focused on the floor price, and that was also something very new to us. And I think it even went below our minting price. So we obviously got a little bit stressed there. Like, do people not believe? Like, we find it quite strange, right? Like, so people were sold out like in a couple of minutes, and then people started selling. So it's like, why are people are actually selling at a loss? So, but I guess, as you just mentioned, people have a short attention span. People are looking for the next project continuously. And, making games is resourceful. It takes time. It's not something that, a great game is not built in a couple of days, not even a couple of months sometimes, and not even in a couple of years, in some occasions. So, and this is, I guess, good for the ecosystem as well, especially when you have developers that are building every day. We're working on it every day. It's not like a hobby project or anything like that. We are putting a lot of resources behind it. People who work at us, they have to pay their rent or mortgages. So it's a real business, and we're spending every day, either at the office or at home, working from home, on this project. So yeah, I think it's important to let people know, like, building games is not something easy. Magic Eden has this special page, Eden Games, and highlight games, which I think, to be honest, is also a great way to onboard the next, maybe even next billion users, because everyone plays games, right? And everyone wants the avatar. Hopefully, I don't know if that's everyone wants, but I would guess that most people, if you have an avatar, it's even more great to have your avatar interact in sort of like an experience, which obviously games are the perfect outlet for that. So yeah, I think it's very exciting, and I think Eden Games is a great step towards supporting game developers on Solana.
Yeah, hopefully, as we build out this page more and the community sees the value in it, it can continue to grow, because I think it's really important for the ecosystem as a whole to support good projects consistently and make sure we're not always chasing after the new hype mint, because yeah, good games take a long time to develop, and the space is quite impatient and they just want things now. And we've been really spoiled with how much upcoming mints there are and how much flip is possible in the Solana ecosystem. So, yeah, I really want to be able to solve that problem and make sure these good games are truly getting the attention that they deserve. But we have another question from Lace.eth. Would love to hear what you have to say.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
All good. How are you?
Yeah, okay. I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
All right. So I got a question about your community, because obviously I'm new to Solana. I'm new to because I'm usually from ETH, right? That's where I actually found out about NFTs and stuff. So I was curious, how did you guys build your community? Was it all paid promotions, or how did that work? Because obviously, if I'm gonna buy into a project, I don't want to buy into a pump and dump. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to buy into something I can hold long term, and something organic. So I don't know how you guys did that, but if you can explain that, that'd be cool.
Yeah, this is a very good question. So first of all, we are new to the space, and once we started, we find it quite interesting. There's so many promoters out there, and we're still getting I think DMs every day. But we said we're not gonna work with them. We want to build our community organically as well. So I think the biggest difference for us is that we want to show the community that we are really building something, and by really showing what we're doing and being super transparent about it. And that really helped us push and grow our community as well, because we started from the beginning as I'm not sure how long you've been in the spaces, but we released a playable demo actually with NFT integration at the on the public mint date, right? So I think that's the biggest difference between any other project. I mean, not many projects. I would say the majority of the projects don't have a playable demo on the public mint date. Usually, the game or the demo is pushed somewhere far along in the roadmap. And we actually said okay, we have experience with hyper casual games, so we know how to quickly turn around games and make games. And we were like, okay, let's make a demo, and let's have NFT integration to show that we're really building something. We really want to build a great experience. And I think that's the biggest difference. And by doing that and showing that to the community, that really helped us push the community as we have it now.
Okay, I see. And did Magic Eden help with most of the promotion, most of the marketing, or did you guys already have that in the beginning?
We were
already had that
100% organic, right?
Yeah, we actually did the public mint on our own website, and then we got listed on Magic Eden.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, yeah, that's amazing to hear then. I was thinking about Panzerdogs for a while, and I was gonna try to max mint. I just needed to know if this was all organic and good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, cool. If there's no other speakers, then I would love to give Panzerdogs final say on anything that they want to say, and we can start closing out the space.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening in, and it was great to talk about Panzerdogs. We have the alpha build out, which has online PvP 3 versus 3. If you own a avatar, you are able to play the game. You don't need a tank. You'll get a tank from us to play the game. It's we're really curious about how you are liking the game, how you're liking the alpha build. It's a very simple version of what is coming up in the next couple of months. We have a leaderboard prizes up to 66 Solana. And yeah, we really hope people enjoy playing the game. But again, it's the biggest reason why we're pushing the alpha build out is to collect feedback. So please join our Discord and give us as much feedback as possible, so that we can keep building and improving the game and can release new seasons. And we're very excited to keep building in the Solana space. So thank you very much for listening in.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for your time, and thank you everybody so much for listening. We'll do more of these spaces with other games too, and yeah, we'll see you guys all later.
Thanks for hosting us.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much. Bye.